there's obviously still a lot of SEO benefits to clustering and whatnot. So that's a great example of just the user experience. But yeah, I think obviously as we work with clients, it's typically working well to build either brand new clusters from scratch or take some of the existing content they have and round them out and kind of build them together. So search benefits, I think we definitely should spend a few minutes on and getting into that. So one of the obvious ones that we kind of mentioned, and if their terminology isn't as familiar to you, definitely look it up, but like natural language processing and the semantic relationship of that. So very much ways that the search engines are analyzing the content, but it is really helping the search engines at a high level, and then we can kind of fill this in, Derek and Kevin, but like at a high level, it's helping them understand the relatedness of the content and overall, like you're like, please don't write a blog post that's 40,000 words long to fully cover everything, but ultimately a cluster is sort of like that. It is taking this whole collection of things and saying we've covered in depth all of the pieces of this, and they're all connected, they're all related, and collectively this theme, as Derek mentioned earlier, is all now complete across whatever it might be, 5 posts or 10 or whatever. So I think that's a huge benefit, that it's not just a bunch of disparate pieces across your site and the search engine is trying to understand how they're related. It is you intentionally writing and intentionally linking internally to communicate that this is one complete library on this larger theme.
Yeah, I would. This keeps popping into my head as we use phrases like natural language processing or semantic SEO, which is, as someone who started practicing SEO, like post some of those major updates that really became the staples of natural language processing and like how it all functions today. Mm-hmm. It always sounds a little convoluted. Like semantic SEO in some ways is just the way that us younger SEOs have always practiced SEO. So you're just sort of, you just mean SEO, right? But right. The more I like dig back and like talk with other SEOs on Twitter or whatever, I'm like, oh, we've got like a new shape. But essentially it just means, right, like Google understands related things and it wants to place everything in relationship to those things. Which is why, like from an SEO benefit side, to your point, you're going to see rankings increase as more related things are connected to each other. Those are kind of the authority signals, whether it's like helping to more clearly define an entity, to explain how topics are related. I usually think about it less from the entity perspective and more from like what you were explaining before, which is you could have a book and your book is divided up into chapters. And so that's how everything is connected around this one big topic of the book. But we need to get you through the entirety of that topic in order for you to feel like you're walking away with all the information you need. Yeah. And that connectedness, again, it's like some people call it like a rising of all ships. So when Google finally clicks and you rank a piece of content, then all of a sudden, we're going to bring out a bunch of technical terms, but link equity passes along those signals to those other related topics, and you start to see all of the rankings improve across that entire cluster.
Yeah, I think it's in addition to that, the link equity is a really important aspect of it, but just like reinforcing the fact that like a piece of content, and typically it would be like the pillar piece of a topic cluster, but like the more well executed of a content hub or topic cluster will end up ultimately generating some sort of organic backlink lift, right? So like that's a huge benefit from an SEO standpoint, that probably, I mean, like, I think we talk about passive backlink building for like really good content. I think it applies to a content hub, but like that will ultimately flow through a content hub, especially because the parent piece will always usually be that one because it's really comprehensive. There could be other pieces too that get them, but that'll get the most visibility. But I think like that feeds into the link equity or page rank, which admittedly in my refreshing myself on the topic of topic clusters, forgetting that's actually still a part of this. It's just not public, right? You have no way of understanding the page rank, but page rank, and more specifically, gets passed through pages to help them rank better as well. So just reinforcing again Derek's point just around how like visibility and rankings has such a benefit from a well executed and strategically built topic cluster.